Most of the opportunities I've been afforded in my lifetime so far is because I've come across once in a lifetime like opportunities, and I saw G Code as one.
The long-term vision for G Code is to provide housing security to young women of color between 18 and 25 in Greater Boston, and also kind of combine that with technical training, internship placements, and mentorship. You really can't do anything unless you have stable housing. Like, that just gets in the way and takes precedent over everything else.
Even coming out into a STEM field, it was still incredibly stressful to find housing. Being able to give that opportunity to people so that they can spend their mental work learning and developing their skills and focusing on that, I think that means a lot and gives a lot more opportunity.
I think one, in my own personal work, I'm really passionate about creating intentional spaces for folks of color, especially women of color. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to create community.
Especially in this field, you don't see a lot of females that are women of color who are able to teach you and communicate effectively. It makes you feel more confident because you can see that they've done it, so you can do it too.
I've gone to a coding boot camp, but I think the one element that we have that's different is we are not only helping out with technical skill, but we're also trying to help with like overall wellness and health.
Tech touches all of our lives, right? And if we are leaving out a huge swath of the population in terms of them not being participants or even creators in the technology that has an impact on our world, then I don't think we're doing tech well. I wanted to create a space for young women where they would be safe, they would be part of the community, and they could also use that platform to potentially launch a career in tech.
I feel safe. I don't feel like an other in this space. I feel like I'm just myself because I'm amongst other women and other women of color. I'm actually just Nicole. I'm just myself.
My name is Bridgette Wallace. I am the founder of G Code House, which is a co-living, learning, and working space for young women 18 to 25, where we teach them how to code, place them in some amazing, incredible internships, and launch them into a career in tech. But also giving them the support that they need so they can be change makers in the tech space. So I'm happy to be here and excited to share my walk as a social entrepreneur.
Hello, my beautiful friend. I'm so excited. This is like one of the conversations. I literally have been dying to talk to you forever and a day because you're so busy. You're everywhere. You are like so hot right now. It's not even funny. I mean, I am seeing posts and I'm seeing LinkedIn. I'm seeing articles. You are blowing it up. So let's start from the very, very, very beginning. How did you decide to create the house? I mean, like, where did this come from? Where was this idea stemmed? And who are you and what's your background?
Absolutely. So thank you for asking that question because I think backgrounds and history is important, right? So I've been a community advocate and I use that term with caution because I think people attach a number of different things to it. So I've been working in the community for the better part of 30 years in terms of fighting for equity and social justice. And in various areas such as public health, public policy, economic development, and now looking at housing, equity, and inclusion. And so for me, this has been, it's a part of who I am. My family is from the Caribbean, they're from Jamaica. And so I understood the importance of getting an education, but I also was able to take advantage of amazing opportunities because I had an amazing support system, and that was in my family. And so they encouraged me to pursue my interests but also to think about those who didn't have those opportunities or don't have those opportunities and find ways that I could give back. So again, an opportunity arose as Roxbury, like many neighborhoods across our state and across the country, are experiencing gentrification. Roxbury is one of them. And an opportunity came up for me to buy a house. I simply bought a house. And after buying the house, I was able to sit back or step back and look at it, because even in purchasing the house was a process. I had to take the seller to court because of the interest in property in the area. The person wanted to back out of the deal midway into the process. And so just going through that experience, I said, there's something here and there's something worth fighting for. So having won that case, once I got the house, I was like, well, what am I going to do with a 5,000 square foot house? Like my daughter, she's a college student, and she clearly stated that she was not going to stay in Boston. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to be by myself. I'm not looking forward to that. And she's like, yeah, Mom, so I think you should really think long and hard about what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And being also by profession, an urban planner, I said, the issues here are converging around housing, around education, around tech, around the growth of Boston, and who's included in that. So what can I do? How can a building sort of serve to address some of those needs and those issues? And then I started thinking about, well, hey, tech is, of course, it impacts all our lives. It is being in the tech economy and the gig economy. What does that mean for communities of color, and primarily young women? And then I started to research, hey, what's out there? And what I found was there are a lot of programs that were K through 12. And then they dropped off, and then they picked back up in women in leadership. And I said, hey, how about if we overlay giving young women an alternative to college or university as a pathway into tech by giving them the support and resources they needed, by giving them housing, support system, the training they would need, and hopefully the space and the time to pursue that interest. And thus I started to put together the business plan in partnership with Youth Build, and came up with G-Code House. Because when I did the research, there wasn't much out there. But one interesting fact did emerge, or I should say concept, or not concept, but program that did exist, which was in the 1900s. A free slave came up from the South to the North and settled in Harlem, and she rented out an apartment in Harlem. And she would take in freed slaves, and eventually she purchased a house, and it was called the White Rose Mission. And I was shocked and amazed and just overjoyed to find that someone else had thought of this concept, right? And the linkages between the two, and the language that connected us, even when I was reading the story. So I was like, wow, there's something here, and let me build on that concept. And that's how we came up with G-Code House.
I have to say that, I can't remember how long it's been since we've known each other, but I remember when you were thinking about buying the house. I remember when you bought the house and all the different obstacles that came with it. And
right.
I go, you know what? I go, you have it in you to do anything you want to do it. It's part of your DNA. And so what was by far the most frustrating thing about building this? I mean, outside of the owner wanting to back out on it, but what was the biggest obstacle about building this entire brand new, never been seen in Boston kind of a location? What did the people in the community, the neighbors, what did the neighbors think?
Mm-hmm.
What has been the absolute highlight of working with these girls?
Great question. So
so many questions from Jodi. So
yes, I know. Thank you for providing me the space to share about sort of the obstacles. because it's important. There are obstacles. So it sounds amazing. The concept sounds sexy and exciting, and people were all abuzz until we had to get into really doing the work. Like, what does this mean for our community? And again, it's a community that is undergoing disruption. So people are trying to figure out, well, is this a group home? Who's going to be there? Who's going to monitor it? How's it going to be supervised? And the most opposition I got was from my neighbors. And they did say, if you have a house full of women, what does that invite? And I tried earnestly to really dispel their concerns, address their concerns, listen to them, right? And put in place solutions that would allay any fears that they might have that this would, somehow, bring down their quality of life. And the most powerful way that I could do that was by bringing in one of the young women. And I let her speak. And it was at a neighborhood meeting. It was about 30 or 40 so residents that showed up. It was facilitated actually by Liz Walker. And I let her talk. So none of the visuals
Wait. You can't just stop there. What was her message? Like, what did she?
Yeah. So I'm just saying that none of the visuals worked. Nothing that I said worked. So this young lady just said, here is who I am. And this is what I've done in terms of, I was a DACA recipient. I had an interest in tech. I didn't know quite what to do. And had I had a program like G-Code, what that would have afforded me is exponential. Like, I can't even explain to you, because I had to take so many alternative routes to get to where I am today, with little support, little encouragement, because she was also an immigrant, Haitian background. And she was like, my family didn't understand what I was trying to do. And so I had to seek out resources, and it took a toll on me. And so now I'm here working to develop this concept for other young women to have those supports, and to have this concept where they would be paired or living with like-minded young women to pursue careers in tech. And she said, do you understand the investment that would make in terms of changing the legacy and the history or future, I should say, of a young woman's life? Like, what that would mean.
I'm smiling. I mean, the smile can't stop. And I'm like, all right, don't smile so much. But I'm like, I can't help it, because, I mean, all right. So yay, little Haitian girl, yay, hey.
Yes.
But I mean, it's one of those moments where immigrant parents that they don't, if it's not the norm of you go to school, you come home, you go to school, you come home, you go to school, you go home, you get a job.
Right.
And so a program like this, where you're leaving the house and you're living somewhere else, what's happening here? So you're getting these girls in, how did you get the girls in? So now, like, the community is behind you. Those are coming in. How are you now communicating with the families? Because I feel that could be another barrier for you with getting these girls in the program.
Yeah. So let me back up. So we're not fully functioning as a living program, because we still have to raise a bit of capital to get the house and the carriage house renovated. So as I mentioned, 5,000 square foot house and a 2,000 square foot carriage house. So it's a lot of space to renovate and to turn into a space that's suitable for both living and learning. So what we did in the meantime was said that there's still a need, and let's begin to test the concept and to test what we're doing. And we started the intro program. And we put out that, the concept as a whole, that's something that is there. We're not tabling it, but that's in the future because, again, of financial constraints. But we do have a curriculum. We do want to see young women of color learning together and working together to pursue careers in tech, or opportunities in tech. And we started that in partnership with the Boston Public Library. And it was a 10-week intro program, 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon.
So from 1 to 5, these young women would come to the library and work on learning the various languages. But also, we want to treat, or not treat, I should say, that's poor use of words, but in terms of we want to work with the whole woman. So we brought in people to talk about their finances, their mental health, right? To talk about economic development, all of the things and the issues that they're dealing with. We wanted to bring that and introduce that into this space. And we had, the space could hold up to 20 young women. We had about 50 people apply.
Whoa.
And it's our first go around. And so we had a wait list. 16 young women, in terms of recidivism, stayed with the program. And they completed the 10 weeks. And as COVID hit, we had to switch to being in person to online. And they all made the transition with us. And so at the end of every class, what we do is we take a survey to sort of evaluate how the class went for them. And when we switched to online, they said, your facilitators made that transition so smooth, and it was so easy for us to go online and to continue our learning, even though, of course, it was in a different setting. But the fact that they were able to recognize that, and we were trying to create that, seamless transition for them, really was important for us to hear. And in terms of just who we attracted, we got, in the application process, like one young woman said, I literally had to click the button twice when I saw, the application come out, because she was like, is this true? Like, this is too good to be true. And she said, I am amazed that a program like this exists. And for me, it's talking to me, it's speaking to me. And she's actually a college graduate from Northeastern.
Wow.
But did not have the time or opportunity to pursue a career in tech. And this would afford her that opportunity to do that. So again, it's interesting in terms of the young women really being the ambassadors and spokespeople for this concept.
Where are you finding, what are the companies that are supporting you?
Sorry.
No, the cameras. It's like,
I know.
The lights behind you, they're making me so happy. So where the companies that are partnering with you, like, where are you finding them? Are they finding you? Because technology, in essence, it's like it's dominated by men. And so you have these women that are in it and they're loving it. What are the companies that want to find these young women? And I'm assuming young women, like, what are the age ranges of the women that you're having? So I didn't want to assume there.
Yeah. So as I mentioned in my opening, they're from 18 to about 25.
Okay.
So we get some young women right out of high school, and we get some young women who are, in their mid-20s, and they're interested in exploring a career in tech. But for all the reasons that have been stated in studies, they didn't have the confidence, they didn't have the resources, they didn't feel they had the support. They didn't want to be seen as being dumb or inferior in those spaces. So that's what was expressed in the applications. And so when this space became available, so many young women said it spoke to who they were as a young woman of color, but also what they wanted to pursue in terms of, I want to be in this space, but I'm not sure that the space wants me. So we then had to open up that space. And in terms of the tech companies, like VMware was an early supporter of what we were trying to do. And they recognized that they're male dominated. And so they wanted to come on board and do something and partner with us. Also, we had Grubhub, Salesforce, and a couple of other different companies that have expressed interest in supporting this program. We also sat down and met with Google. We met with the Kendall Square Association just to sort of tease out the various tech companies across the river that could also be of support, Akamai and some others.
Excellent. I want to rewind a little bit here. You had a career and you were in the community and you're very well known in the community. Why did you decide to go this route? And what would you tell someone that is looking to do the same thing? Like, I have the job, it's paying me, it's a job that's, I'm essential, and you would have been fine. Why did you decide to walk away from this? And what would you, like, again, what advice would you tell someone that's at home, they've been in quarantine, they're working, but they're realizing this may not be the thing for me anymore, but I'm kind of scared.
Right.
I'm scared. So what is your thought there?
Sure. And again, really good questions. I was an employee with the state for 5+ years, right? And so, it was a stable position, but it may sound cliche, but it wasn't what I was passionate about, right? And it didn't get me up every morning. And I think you need something that gives you that drive, and whether you're paid or not, even though we err on the side of being paid, that gets you up, that moves you, that you feel that this work has meaning and it has purpose. And for me, it was definitely the concept. I'd worked with young women in the past, so things came full circle when I thought about coming up with this concept that this is what brings me purpose. This is what gets me up. This is what will move me out of my comfort, right? To really take that risk and to try something new. And that's what I did. And I took that leap of faith and I said, hey, I'm going to build out this concept, and I'm going to see where this road takes me. And interestingly enough, my daughter works in tech. So she works for Adobe in New York. And because, my daughter was like, Mom, sometimes I have to sit with you to be your voice of reason. She was like, how am I being the voice of reason? And she's like, you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, this is, because staying at work, I felt like I was dying slowly by death by 1,000 cuts. I was like, I can't stay here anymore. So I was like,
heard that, experienced that.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, this is not doing it for me. So she's like, okay, so, I trust you, and I know you, and I know your passion, and I know when you're committed to something, you're committed. And how about I'm going to support you? And now it's my daughter supporting me in this effort. Like, how the game has changed, right?
I have to say, you're a great mom. Like, mama, you are Mama Bear times 20. I mean, the accolades. I mean, your daughter is amazing in herself, and so
Thank you.
It makes sense. It makes sense that she would come and say, like, okay, now I have your back.
Yes, and that just gave me the courage and the tenacity and the drive to continue this work. That she was behind me. That she was willing to work hard to do whatever she needed to do, so that I was okay. But I also want to caution people that it took its toll. It wasn't easy. It took its toll on my health. Because when you have something new, people are, of course, going to question you, doubt you, throw, tons of arrows come your way. But you have to be able to encourage yourself, because you may look to the left and the right of you and there's nobody standing there, and you have to say, I believe in this, and I'm going to keep moving forward. Even if I have to crawl, I'm still going to keep moving forward. Sometimes you do have to say, hey, this is as far as I could take this, and be able to, this is give it up, turn it over to somebody else, the baton over to somebody else, and say, maybe they're the ones to carry this forward. Or sometimes you have to fight your way through. And we finally did that, and we got a breakthrough in terms of a local foundation found us. And it's a woman-led foundation, and she read our mission. And we sat down with her for lunch and walked her through what we were doing. And she was like, I'd like to support this organization for the next 3 years. And we were like, what? It's like that, just that, okay, and this is awesome, right? But not only that, she did something that I think is part of the conversation now in terms of the civil unrest, is allowing particularly founders, women, Black women who have the proximity to a number of issues, the autonomy to say, hey, this is the one solution, right? And if you partner with me in terms of the resources to help me to build this, let's see what can happen with this. And that's what she did. She said, I'm going to financially, but it's really hands off. It's up to you
I
to
love
build
it.
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
it was an incredible sort of investment for us, but also a vote of confidence in terms of what we were doing.
I have said this to entrepreneurs, innovators, startups, small businesses over and over and over again. Your family, your friends, total strangers will look at you like, you're smart. Why don't you get a real job?
Right.
I mean, I say this all the time. I mean, I get it. For me, I mean, I get it all the time. And it's because we feel that there is definitely so much more that can be done. And there's a small percentage of individuals that literally are, yes, I mean, we're afraid. We're afraid all the time, but we take the risk because we know that there are so many more individuals that will see and reap the benefits of what we're doing. And so we're willing to dodge the arrows
Right.
to get to that point, which is great.
Absolutely.
In our world of COVID, I mean, you're running hard, you're getting it done. The girls are coming in, they're learning, all these people are supporting you. And then COVID happens. Coronavirus, COVID-19, the virus, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Comfortable. What did that do for you, and how did you pivot? Because you mentioned how the girls were like, wow, this is great, but that's like the front for them. How does that look like for your company, and what happens next?
Yeah, so for us, in terms of having to go from in-person, which of course impacted what we were trying to create, right? Which was a community of young women, a community of supporters, mentors, and others to support these young women on their path and their journey to careers in tech. And so all of that had to be put online. And so we all know the impacts of Zoom calls, Zoom fatigue, being online, and you just need human contact. Right. And so it was difficult in the beginning, but of course we had to settle into this being the new normal. But for us, COVID actually strengthened our case in terms of adaptive reuse of buildings, where education and learning can take place. And so had we had the ability to have both the house and the carriage house up and running, we wouldn't have skipped a beat, because our young women would have been sequestered or in the house already, right? And of course monitored and put in the proper precautions and the like, but they would have already been in there learning. And so the transition would not have, or the impacts of COVID wouldn't have been felt so deeply and so greatly, because we would have already created a space for them to be learning, fully engaged, and still part of a community. And a physical community. And so for us, again, it really strengthens our argument that we need to think about our use of spaces and what that needs to look like post-COVID.
How are you preparing these young ladies for once things start opening up? They are not just looking for a job, but they're in competition with individuals that are their former colleagues in college or high school. They're competing against people that want to leave their jobs because they just want something new. And they're definitely competing against all the individuals on unemployment right now. So how are you preparing them to get into that workforce, that they're learning these brand new skills, and you don't want them to be discouraged? So how is that working out for you guys?
Yeah, so what we did for our graduation, if you will, or our last session was we invited 7 additional organizations that are operating in this space in terms of education and training to prepare folks for careers in tech. And we had them each speak and talk about how these young women could transition from G-Code to these other programs, so they could continue that learning, build their confidence, and be prepared to make their case, or to present themselves and be in the running for these various positions. But part of it was really just building up their confidence that, hey, you have this new skill set. Let's build on it, and don't doubt yourself and doubt your ability, because in a short window of time, you are able to learn and to build this. And so your learning should continue. You should think about yourself as lifelong learners and think about this as a marathon and not a sprint. And we're here to support you. And if we can't do it, we partnered with other organizations that can support you in that endeavor. So they were really thankful for that. And I think that showed them that the education or the connection didn't just stop with us. that there were other folks out there that were rooting for them and opening space for them and opportunities for them to continue that their learning.
What has this time done for you? Like, so now you have this crazy amount of time. You're juggling your students, the sponsors, the house. I mean, there's so many things that you're doing, but you've had this time where you're not running hard, you're not fast. What have you learned from this time? What have you added in this time? How will your company evolve during this time?
Right. Well, I did learn that I needed to take more time for self-care. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Really?
I know. Like, I learned that I was really operating on fumes. Like, and that I also could, I don't want to say, well, I guess the term that we all know is delegate other responsibilities and opportunities to the G-Code team that has come around me to support me. And at this point, I do want to give them a huge shout out, because we are a hodgepodge of folks who have come together to make this concept a reality. We have all volunteers primarily, right? But who believe in the mission, who believe in this concept, who believe in young women, Black, Brown, Native young women, and are invested in that, who give up their time, energy, and resources. So it wouldn't be possible without them. But I've learned that I can hand stuff off to them. I don't have to micromanage them. I don't have to hover, because everyone understands the mission of what we're trying to do. They're living it. These are young women too, who you know, had or took alternative pathways into tech, and so they know how difficult it is and can speak to it, and they know what the impact of a program like this would make. So they're invested, and I learned I had to do that. I also learned that I had to be patient with myself, right, and that I just couldn't, you know, at the pace that I wanted things to happen, it just doesn't happen that way, right?
It does. Why is that? I mean, like, I always sit there and say that I'm thinking 10 steps in front of where reality,
Right.
And it just drives me crazy because patience is not my thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of surprised how fast that happened. I mean, I'm constantly playing that game with myself.
Right. And so that's what I had to do as well. So just be patient with myself and say, hey, you know, it's okay. We're going to get there. We can see the finish line, and we'll definitely get there. So it's not been easy. It's certainly had its challenges, but I also just like the time and the space for myself to just think and to just be and to reconnect with myself. I'm like, oh, is that really you? Is that you? What do you like? Hey, I really like, you know, doing X, Y, and Z, or, you know, there's a book that's been sitting there staring at me like, hey, do you intend to read me? You know, just certain things. I'm like, yeah, I was planning to get to you, but okay, now I have time and no excuses, right? So and spending time with my daughter, really getting into deep philosophical conversations about her and who she is, and relearning her at this age. And
is this not the best time for every single parent and every single pet in the world?
It really is.
I tell you, like literally every cat and dog is thinking, please don't leave the house. Well, the cats might be thinking differently, but every parent's like, this moment of time, will we ever have this moment of time where I have my kid at home and I'm having a full-on amazing moment with my kids that are younger, but my adult kids?
Yes, absolutely. And it's just been great. We've taken walks together and made meals together, just did some basic things that, you know, running on all cylinders, we didn't have time to do. But she was living in New York, and if I went to visit in New York, you know, visit her in New York, it's like, hey, Mom, we got to go here. I want to show you this one, you know, and it was like our schedules were full. And this gave us the opportunity to really, you know, get reacquainted with each other, and get to know each other again, and also to get to know myself again.
Nice. This is fantastic. Tomorrow, in a perfect world, your door's open. Your back's still looking at me like your doors are open. What does it look like on your first day?
It looks like an amazing celebration. Beautiful Black and brown young women, you know, connecting to a space that was designed just for them, sitting down, breaking bread, getting to know who they are, what their dreams are, what they hope to do, and talking about how we are going to help them get there and realize those dreams. And just again, just spending time, just getting to know each other, right? And building, filling out that communal space with really love, joy, and optimism about what the future can hold. And I'm so excited because I can see it. You know, I can see us hanging out on the porch. I can see us in those spaces. I can see, you know, just a lively group of young women who see this as an amazing opportunity, and are poised to really do some amazing things in the world.
I love it. I like you so much.
Likewise.
My favorite question that I love asking everyone, for anyone that is like listening to you right now, what is your ask? What is your ask personally and professionally that you want everyone to know, that they can help you out or see you, like just whatever it is, what's your ask?
Well, my first ask would be to partner with us. And in doing that, I mean, really partner with us. I'm not just talking about sending or making a financial contribution, but I'm saying looking at our organization and seeing where you can fit in, right? And where do you think you can make a difference? And then certainly, of course, thinking about making a financial contribution, donation, sponsorship of G Code House, right? Because investing in a young woman is investing in a community. And when you give a young woman housing, there's nothing she can't do. You know, when you give her training, there's no one she can't be in terms of training and tech. So think about our motto, think about what we're trying to achieve and accomplish, and really look inside yourself, right? And say, you know, is there a woman, daughter, mother, sister, aunt in my life that has impacted my life? And you want to extend that impact and make that investment into those young women and say, hey, yeah, I value these young women. I value the women in my life, and I want to extend that out to other communities and to this program, and make that investment. And then personally, I would say, hey, you know, send me an email, you know, follow us on social media, you know, give me a pat on the back or send some words of encouragement. We take it all in, and it becomes our fuel. It becomes what keeps us going, what drives us, what helps us to, you know, get through the dark days, and the difficult times, and to really, it provides light on the path of opening G Code House.
I love it. I value you. I value you because you're kick-ass. I value you because you had this massive, amazing dream, and it's like it came to fruition. I value you because you are helping the young people, which of course, like young people are my heart and soul. I mean, like I would do anything and everything for our young people. And I started like when I was a teacher back in the day, which most people don't know that I used to be a teacher, always straight through. I will always give my time to young people. And I value you because you care. You have the biggest heart in the world, and you care. I don't value you because you don't take good care of yourself. And so you need to take 100% better care of yourself. I go, I'm a mom to you right now because we need
I appreciate it.
We need you. We know we need you because there's so many people that, again, they don't walk the walk. They talk it, but they don't walk it. And you literally said you were going to do it, and you're doing it. And I love it. And I started at the beginning saying, I love seeing all the articles and on the LinkedIn, I mean, the accolades, because you are making a difference. And I haven't been to the house yet. I know I've been promising you that I was going to come to the house forever and a day, but I'm always in a different country. But now I'm here. And of course, now that I'm here, I can't even go anywhere.
I know. But soon we will have you. We will have you there. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your words of support and encouragement. And I value you. Because from the beginning, you've extended yourself and who you are, your know-how, your expertise, your just amazing insight, and also candor. Like, hey, have you thought about that?
I was waiting for that one. I'm like, I just kicked her butt.
And just your candor. But I receive it and I take it because I know it's coming from a place of love. And so I value that, and I am in awe of you. I'm like, Jodi has wings. Like every time I touch her, like, no, she doesn't fly on a plane. She literally has wings, right? And she's just gone. And I'm so amazed as to what you're doing and the messages that you're bringing and taking across the world to say, hey, these things are important, and I'm going to help you, right, discover your superhuman powers, right, or your superpowers, and we're going to make a difference. And I really value you. I value the work you're doing. I appreciate you for highlighting G Code. We're just, one cog in the wheel, right? We're just trying to do our little part. Or as I say, it's like you're trying to build a cathedral, but you can't build a cathedral without bricks, and we're just one brick. And one day we'll have that cathedral, but G Code is just one thing. But when you put them all together, you build that cathedral, and that's what we're trying to do. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I really appreciate and value and love you as a person, and the work that you do.
My face hurts. I'm smiling. You know what? It's so funny because I always say when I'm 110, that's right, I said it to the world, when I'm 110 years old and I'm on my deathbed, everyone is going to say like, hey, like everyone's going to be gathered. They're like, oh, how do you know Jodi? Well, she insulted me. How do you know? It is literally my MO. It's my MO with everyone. If you're in my world, I'm not going to hold back the punches.
Right.
I'm going to be like, if you want someone to coddle you, I'm sure there's a mom out there that will do it. It's not my job to coddle you. I want you to succeed. And so if I'm talking to you, I care. And you may not like sometimes what I say to you, but at least she knows she spoke to me, she cares, she sucks, but I love her.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree.
Thank you, Bridgette, for just taking time out of your day. I know you're busy, I know you're thinking and stuff like that. So I appreciate you taking time just to come and talk. And I can't wait to come and visit.
I always have time for you. I will always make time for you. I make time for the things that I value. So, and I value you. I value our relationship. So thank you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. I wish you the best, and I will see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for this opportunity. Take care and be safe.
All right.